This is another phase of the Trump Card 2 project. Dr. Goebel called me the other day and said he wanted a chain tensioner added to it, which I think is a great idea. Big T, if you want to get a picture of this from the side over here. Anytime this is over 120 link chain. Anytime you have a chain that long, you have more of a tendency for the chain to bag or sag, and especially as it stretches. All chains stretch. As this one stretches, it's going to have more of a tendency to bag and sag and jump up and down. I like the idea also just because chain tensioners look gadgety. And I kind of like gadgety, gizmo-y, as Indian Larry would say, gizmo-y looking stuff. So I ordered this just real simple, LBV's the brand, rear chain tensioner. They make them for soft tails. Goes on a soft tail. It would go on the left side, of course. Mounts on the chain guard like this with the chain riding here. What I'm going to do is just reverse it and use it on the right side, since this is a unit drivetrain, unit motor, of course. I'm just going to reverse it, hang it on the right side, so that, and I kind of like the contour of this. It just about matches the fender. T, if you want to come up close, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the re-engineering I did. When I pulled it out of the package, it has a bunch of washers that comes with it. When I pulled it out of the package, it had 2 washers on the outside. The only thing I didn't like about that is that it positions the roller so that it drags on the rail or on the bracket. So all I did was just took it apart, moved one of the washers to the inside, put it back together, so that it stood off of that bracket just a little bit, so that the urethane's not dragging on the aluminum bracket, just so you got nice free play. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do on mine, it came with Nylox, which is a great idea. That's how it came. What I'm going to do, just a couple reasons, so that I've got an extra mechanism to lock the nuts in place. I'm going to double nut it. I'm going to put just a regular nut on the inside, a nylock on the outside. Reason being is, what you want to do, you want to set that, just like on any bearing, you want to set the end play so that it spins freely, but not so tight that it's going to crush those bearings and fry them in there as it rolls. So for example, if you get that, what I just did was just turn that nut about a half a turn. All of a sudden, if you can see already that won't roll on its own. Okay? So what you want to do is set your end play nice enough so it's rolling freely. There's not excessive friction on those bearings, but yet it doesn't have a lot, it's not allowed to cock either. Okay? So you want to play around with that just enough to get a nice smooth roll, so that the bearings aren't really dragging, but then again they're on that bolt tight enough that you're really not cocking, or it's not sloppy. Okay? When you get that in play or free play set, however you want to say it, then what I would do is grab a hold of this bottom nut with a wrench, put your nylock back on, maybe even with some Loctite. I like overkill, so I'll even put nylock. I like overkill, so I'll even put nylocks on with Loctite, just because I build a lot of rigids and I don't like stuff falling apart. Especially because it's no fun getting irate calls from customers broke down alongside the road. So we'll double nut that once we get that play exactly how we want it, and with it not rubbing on there. Okay. Another thing that I messed around with, the way it came to us, if you get a real good close-up, Big T, you can see there's a pretty nice gap right in there. This is a shoulder bolt, which is a good design, and it's against the nylon washer. there's a pretty good gap there. So no matter how tight you get that nut, you still have a lot of slop. Okay, I don't like that. I like things to work smoothly and tightly with minimum play. I just think that they function better and last longer that way. So it just so happened, coincidentally, a 12 millimeter copper brake washer, fitting washer, just happens to be like the perfect size, thickness wise, right on there. I'm going to put it back together without hooking the spring up, just so to make it simpler to show you. And here again, what you want to do is play around with the tightness of it until you get a nice smooth action. You don't want that nut so tight that it makes it bind or makes it so the spring won't work or the spring will catch. Okay, I'd say that's a little too tight. I'll back that off just a little bit. Okay, so there you can see it's nice and free, but look at all the, if we get that just right, look at all the play that you take out of it. Okay, then on same deal, I'm going to double nut that so that I'm tightening, instead of tightening the nut against here and binding up these nuts against each other, that I maintain that exact amount of free play or in play that I was working toward. A basic position that I decided to put this in is right about here. Okay, and I decided before that I was going to have the top. This comes with some bolt hole positions that fit the soft tail, stock soft tail chain guard, and I'm just going to take advantage of that. Just to get the ball rolling, I pulled a tab. We do so much fabrication, mounting of things on all our frames and rollers and hardtail kits around here that we just keep a big storehouse of tabs. That's what this little metal piece right here is. I had already marked it pretty much so I could get position fore and aft. That's what this mark right here is. This is a handy little tab mounting tool that I got from Trick Tools, also called Van Zant. And just to make sure that I get this on there, I like everything, when I build something, I like everything to be dead perpendicular or dead level to the ground if it's something that's flat or square. Okay? So I start out by putting a level on the frame. Big T, I don't know if you can get a picture of that, show that probably can't tell from an angle, but if you're looking straight up and down, you can see that it's dead bubble, the frame. Okay? Then the nice thing is, all I have to do is make sure that this bracket, I had it swung down, facing down before, and I put this digital level on it before with it hanging straight down, got it to exactly 0, so then I know that this arm right here is swinging 90 degrees to level of the earth, so that whatever I use to put it on, it's going to put it on there in that same plane. Okay, and then just got a spacer out of my spacer stash to stand that off this arm, just the exact amount, to put it where I want it. Up the chain tensioner, and we'll talk about how to do the rest of the mounts.